Hey guys, I'm Camron Stover from huntinggeardeals.com today to help you plan for an out of state hunting adventure. So, it's no secret, out of state hunting has gotten popular more and more throughout recent years. We've watched the guys from the hunting public have success on public ground in state after state after state. And hunters like you and I, we want to replicate what they're doing in our own ways and find success and big bucks on new and exciting places. But where do you get started? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. The first thing you need to do is research the public land hunting opportunities in the area. Sounds simple enough, right? You have to start this bow hunting road trip or this whitetail rutcation somewhere, and you have to know what's available to you. So, find a state. Maybe it's something new, maybe it's your home state, but you first need to do some research and figure out where the best odds are for you to find a deer. Over the counter states like Kentucky, Ohio, Missouri, it's easy to get a tag in. However, if you're wanting to go to Kansas or Iowa, you're going to have to wait a while or get lucky and draw a tag. So you have to plan ahead. So the first step is always doing your research and planning ahead with tags and acquiring that tag. Now, once you have the area or the state located that you're going to hunt, you have to identify where public ground is available to you. So for me, I'm going to scout from the convenience of my own home before I ever put boots on the ground. So using an app like OnX Hunt allows me to figure out what public land's available and then actually start looking for areas of interest. Not only am I looking at the largest tracts of ground in that unit or in that state or county that I'm interested in, but I'm also looking at those small offbeat properties that most people are going to overlook. And when the pressure gets crappy during the rut, and let's face it, that's when most hunters are traveling throughout the country to go out of state to hunt. I'm going to move into areas to where I can put boots on the ground and not have to worry about other hunters. So, the first step, this step is going to save you a lot of miles and a lot of time if you invest it today. So, scouting and planning which. So, your digital scouting is going to save you a lot of time and energy when that hunt actually gets here. The next thing in planning for a hunt is understand. One thing that needs to be talked about when planning for an out of state hunt is the cost breakdown. Now, it's not in everybody's budget to be able to afford an Illinois tag at $500 or $700, whatever they are now. So you may need to look at areas of the country that are a little cheaper. I think when I hunted Wisconsin, they did like a first year discount for like $75. I was able to go out there and hunt. So take that into consideration when making your planning. Tags are not getting cheaper. They're actually getting more expensive. So is the gas and everything else. So cost can play a huge factor, not in your success, but in your availability to where you're going to be able to hunt. Lastly, once you get there or prior to is the boots on the ground approach. So in a best case scenario, you knew prior to hunting season where you were going to be going. And you've scouted that property, not only digitally, but boots on the ground. Shed season is one of the best times of the year to go out and scout new properties, whether it's in state or out of state. A quick 2 or 3 day trip can really pay dividends later on down the year once you have a tag in your hand. So don't be afraid to make that cross country trip only to scout for a few days, because the homework that you're going to do and the knowledge that you're going to gain on that trip is well worth the investment. So, can you scout during season on a new property and still find success? Absolutely. You should always be scouting as you go. We rely on digital maps to get us started, but it's what the knowledge we gain with the boots on the ground is where we actually find success. When I was out in Missouri years ago, I had access to a lot of property. So bounce, 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 bounce from one public ground tract to the next where we were staying at. And I found hunter after hunter after hunter, found sign, but I was literally looking for a place that just I could hunt to myself. And that's hard to do on public ground, but I finally found it. I found this area of the state that only a few people were hunting. It was a big tract of ground, but I was able to glass from a distance, spot deer coming through this CRP, and make a move. And I actually ended up shooting a buck, but I didn't recover him. Shame on me. I made a bad shot. Not necessarily my shot placement, but there was a little twig about the size of my finger that caught my broadhead, just enough to deflect that arrow, and buck lived to see another day. However, all the work that I had done to plan for hunting one particular tract of ground did not pay off. It was the ability to shift on the fly and make the change when most people would have given up or sat in the stand. That was the highlight of my trip, was being able to walk out to this big, tall, grassy knob, sit down, watch the sun come up or the sun set, and count some deer until I saw one big enough to chase. And yeah, that one hurt. That's 6x5, beautiful, beautiful deer. I stalked that deer from 600 yards out up to 40 yards, and I just didn't see it. So the boots on the ground approach is a very pivotal part of this process, but it's something you can practice for at home. So if hunting new for you, if out-of-state hunting's a little new to you, pick up your phone, look at your onX map app for your home state, and find some pieces of public ground. Even if you've got the best private places to hunt in the state, practice on public, because you're going to be hunting public on if you're going to be hunting public in another state, you can practice finding fresh deer sign in pressured areas on your home state and utilize that information when you're hunting and traveling out of state as well. Oh man. All right, guys. This is my biggest problem on out of state hunts, is the fact that I overpack. If I'm going on a weekend trip with my wife and I've got to pack clothes, I've got 2 or 3 outfits for every day that I'm never going to use. And sadly, I do the same thing during hunting season. So the last out of state trip that I did, I think it was, Kansas. I had enough gear in that truck for a week-long trip to Kansas that I couldn't put another person in it. I had food, I had camping stuff, I had tree stands, ground blinds, chairs, coolers, all this stuff that I ended up not needing or not utilizing, because really all I needed was my bow, one tree stand and sticks, my camouflage, and a couple accessories. The rest of the stuff sounded like a good idea, but honestly, it just made for more work, more effort, and really changed the way that I traveled, because I had to be worried when I stopped about people stealing stuff out of the truck. So it adds a lot of stress to it. So don't overpack. Instead, invest in a saddle hunting setup, one tree stand, and hit the road. Lastly, it wouldn't be huntinggeardeals.com. Lastly, as someone that has devoted their life to helping people save money on hunting gear, I would be selling myself short if I didn't help you save money on your hunting trip. So plan for the price of gas. So one of the biggest hurdles. So a few more tips when it comes to saving money for your hunting trip and making plans is understanding more costs associated with it, whether it be the price of gasoline, your lodging, your food, your tags we've talked about already, and hunting gear. So the price of gasoline, I can't help you with. There's apps out there that you can research which state and areas have the best gas prices. You can use that if that's a thing. But me, gas is just one of those overhead costs that I know I have to pay. Lodging, you can be really cheap here, but you need to have a comfortable place to lay down after a long day's hunt, and two, you're going to need a place to take a shower. So for me, camping in the back of the truck's not a bad idea. But after a few days, I need a hotel. I need a nice, comfortable bed, a place to shower, and relax. So if lodging is your key, I'm not afraid to go in and spend a little bit of money on a hotel, spend a little money on an Airbnb if that opportunity is there. You can break up those costs by taking somebody with you and kind of splitting the cost of gasoline for lodging, but you don't have to rough it. You can pull a camper with you. You can find a campground, but you're going to be filled up with other hunters as well. So one thing that I've found is if I'm not afraid to go to an area that requires me to stay in a hotel, I actually have less competition because if I go into a campground with other hunters that all have the same process and mindset that I do, guess what? We're all hunting the same areas. So going out of the norm in this scenario and staying in a hotel or an Airbnb, I'm actually surrounded by less people. Your tags, my wedding ring fell off. As for tags, you need to plan accordingly. We've talked about that. With hunting gear, guys, this is huntinggeardeals.com. Of course, I'm here to help you save money on hunting gear. So make sure you visit the website at www.huntinggeardeals and sign up for a daily deal email so you never miss a deal. How it works is I go through multiple websites each day, scouring the web looking for discounted hunting gear, and I combine that in one convenient location. So best of luck this season. Best of luck this season, and I hope some of these tips will help you plan for your next out-of-state adventure.